This video will show you how to replace the front headlamp assemblies on a Subaru Outback. You'll have two of these, one mounted along each side of the front of your vehicle. Let's get into it. Now underneath the front of the vehicle, we can see our front bumper cover and we can see our splash shield. We're looking along the bottom of the front bumper cover. There's going to be several push clips that we're going to dislodge. I'm using a trim tool. You can also use a flat blade screwdriver. To dislodge your push clips, you need to remove the center to unlock it. Then the outer portion should remove as well. That one's stuck with some sand. You'll find that you have three of these making their way across the front. Now, as we continue on towards one side or the other, the process is going to be the exact same. We can see our inside fender liner. It makes its way underneath the front bumper cover. There's three push clips on either side. You're going to remove all of them. Now that's what we need to do underneath this side of the vehicle. We need to do the exact same thing on the other. Once we've done that, you're going to make your way up inside of each one of the wheel wells. For that, you don't have to remove the wheel. We do have to make our way up and behind though. Now we're making our way up along inside the fender area. This is where we can see the corner of our bumper cover. We have another push clip. At this point, you should be able to take hold of the bumper cover and carefully pull it away from the fender, gently dislodging it. Now the next thing we have to do, if you have fog lamps on your vehicle, you want to take a peek inside of this area. We're looking for the backside of our fog lamp assembly. We'll take hold of the fog lamp bulb, turn it counterclockwise to dislodge it from the assembly. At this point, repeat this exact same process on the other side of the vehicle, and then we'll meet up top. After completing both sides, we're up along the top. We have 6 push clips to remove. Now at this point, you should be able to take hold of the bumper cover, give it a wiggle, and start pulling it away. It's common to be stuck underneath either side of the vehicle's headlamps, so if that's the case, just take hold of the bumper cover, carefully pull it away. We'll set that bumper cover aside temporarily. With the bumper cover out of the way, let's focus on the headlamp assemblies themselves. Along the headlamp assembly, you're going to find that you have a plastic bracket which is held in place with 3 10mm headed mounting bolts. You can see one here, and one towards the outside corner there. Just go ahead and remove that trim panel. We'll set it aside. We will be reusing this. Now there's 3 more 10mm pieces of hardware that we're going to deal with while we're still in this area, prior to making our way up inside the engine compartment. 2 along the front side here. And then 1 heading towards that outside corner. Now, staying along the outboard side of the headlamp assembly, if you were looking just along this plastic bracket, you're going to find another 10mm headed mounting bolt. Let's remove this. Now let's move up along the fender into this area. If you were to lift up on this foam panel, you're going to find that you have the ear of your headlamp assembly. Now you should have a 10mm headed mounting bolt, and typically there's going to be some sort of locking pin here. If you do have a pin, you want to carefully remove the center to unlock it, and then you can remove the outer portion as well. Let's take hold of the headlamp assembly. We're going to give it a wiggle and start pulling it away, but keep in mind you still have a wiring harness that you have to disconnect along the inboard side. Now, looking along the back side of the assembly, we can see several different wiring harnesses. There's only one that we have to deal with, and that's this large gray connector. The gray connector has a locking tab along the lower aspect. Just go ahead and squeeze that in and we'll pull this out of place. A quick inspection for corrosion, and we can remove that headlamp assembly. There it is, friend. Okay, friend. It's time for installation of our brand new headlamp assembly. We need to start with our wiring harness along the back side. We're going to take our gray connector and line it up with the headlamp assembly. We'll slide it into position, listen for a click from that. After an audible click, a light tug confirming it's secured in place. Now we can get the entire assembly in the proper placement as well. Now we're confirming the headlamp assembly makes its way along the fender as it should. Up along the top, you should have the area for your pin. You can install that assuming you have one. If you do not, you definitely want to make sure you install that mounting bolt. Now we're not tightening this yet. We want to make sure we start in the hardware before tightening, just in case we have to make any adjustments. For these bolts to start it in, I'm just going to put them in the socket. It's a little easier to reach inside of the ports. Now all these are started in. Let's double check to make sure we're properly in place and snug them up. Double check to make sure you're aligned. If you need to make an adjustment, loosen, adjust, and re-tighten. Now it's time for our plastic bracket. If you were looking at the plastic bracket itself, in the areas where the lower mounting bolt ports are, you have the mounting bolt ports, but you also have an alignment tab port. It's the same for each of these. Now looking at the headlamp assembly that we just installed, you can see the mounting bolt ports and the alignment tabs. At this point, you know what to do. Just go ahead and line it up. We'll start in the mounting hardware and snug it up. I can see my pin. Install that bolt. This next one. And all the way up top. Now at this point, the process is the exact same thing for the other side of the vehicle. Once you've completed that, let's prepare to install our bumper cover. Okay, let's get our front bumper cover in place. As we bring this over, we're being extremely careful for the paint of our vehicle. We don't want to cause any damage. We'll start lifting it up along the center. Once we have the center placed in, it's time for our 6 push clips, starting from one side, making our way all the way over towards the other. As far as those push clips, you want to press in the outer portion first. Lock it down by pressing in the center. Repeat the process for all other push clips. Now the next thing we have to do is pay attention along our headlamp assemblies. The bumper cover slides in along the bottom of the headlamp assembly. Once you have that slid in, we're also going to be aligning it with our front fender. Just tap that into position, double check to make sure it looks like it's seated. Finish one side, do the same on the other. We're making our way into the front wheel well. Now inside that fender area, we're pulling aside the fender liner so we can look behind the front bumper cover. It's time to install our fog lamp bulbs. Let's get those aligned with the fog lamp assemblies themselves. Once you have it aligned, you want to align the mounting ears, and then you're turning it clockwise to lock it in. Once everything's aligned, it should be seated perfectly. Go ahead and turn that clockwise, make sure it is secure. After double checking that, we're going to continue on with our fender liner. Tuck that behind the front bumper cover, and then we'll be up in this upper corner. Double check to make sure this is seated. We're going over to the other side of the vehicle. You're going to repeat the exact same process. Make sure you plug in your fog lamp bulb, tuck this liner behind, and install your push pin. After securing both sides' inner fender liners, we're down along the bottom of them now. We can see where they connect to that front bumper cover. We'll make sure we have it in the proper orientation. There's going to be areas that go on the outboard side or the underside, and then there's going to be areas that go up and above. The areas that go up and above are the flat areas. The ones that go under, of course, are for the push pin ports. Every push pin port needs to be available. We'll go for this corner first. Now, if you find that the bumper cover lifts up on you like this one does, as I'm trying to push this through, you could use a small angled pick. Hold it down, slide your push pin through the port as it needs to be. Now we'll just double check to make sure that's secured. Obviously, you've got the same thing on the other side of the vehicle, and then you're continuing on along the center. Both sides are done. We're in the center. We have our 3 push clips. Just double check to make sure everything's secured while we're under the vehicle, and we can make our way out from under the vehicle. Okay, friend, we got our vehicle back together. Double check to make sure everything's properly secured, close the hood, take your vehicle for a road test. Thanks for watching.
Now we're going to get the vehicle ready to aim the headlights. Start with the tire pressure, making sure all 4 tires are set at the appropriate pressure. Remove any excessive weight that's not normally in the vehicle. Find a wall that you can drive up to where the ground is level. Measure 25 feet away from that wall and mark the ground. Drive your vehicle up to that mark. With the headlights off, look for the center dot in the headlight lens. Measure from the ground to that center dot. You can use a ruler to help you out. Transferring that measurement to the wall, making a mark with some tape. On the driver's side, measure down 4 inches, putting another piece of tape. For the passenger side, you only need to measure down 2 inches. Now turning the headlights on, it is easier to do this at night or in a dark area. Locating your headlight adjuster and using a Phillips head screwdriver, turn your adjuster one way or another to bring the headlight up or down. Once the headlight is adjusted to the tape mark on the wall, move on to the next headlight. If you're confused because the beams seem to blend together, you can always have someone stand in front of the other headlight while you make your adjustments for that one. Now your headlights are aligned and you're all set to go.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.